When peddler fellows leave the street, and thirsty neighbors meet, as market days are wearing late, and people begin to take the gate, while we sit drinking at the ale, and getting full and mighty happy, we think nae on the long Scots miles, the Moss's waters, breaks and stiles, that lie between us and our home, where sits our sulky, sullen wife, gathering her brow like a gathering storm, nursing her anger to keep it warm. This truth found honest Tam O'Shanter, as he from Ayr one night did canter, old Ayr, where never a town surpasses, for honest men and bonny lasses. Old Tam, had you been so wise as taken your own wife's Kate's advise, she told you well you was a skellum, a chattering, blustering, drunken blellum, that from November till October, each market day thou was nae sober. On each grinding day with the miller, you drank as long as you had siller. That every nag was shot a shoe on, the smith and you got roaring full on. That at the Lord's house, even Sunday, you drank with Kirkton Jean till Monday. She predicted, late or soon, you would be found deep drowned in Doon, or caught with warlocks in the dark by Alloway's old haunted cark. One market night, Tam was planted uncommonly right, fast by a fire blazing finely, with foaming new ale that drank divinely. At his elbow, cobbler Johnny, his ancient, trusty, thirsty crony. Tam loved him like his very brither. They had been drink for weeks together. The night drove on with song and clatter, and aye the ale was growing better. The landlady and Tam grew gracious, secret favors sweet and precious. The cobbler told his queerest stories. The landlord's laugh was ready chorus. The storm outside might roar and rustle, but Tam did not mind the storm a whistle. Care mad to see a man so happy, even drowned himself among the ale, as bees fly home with loads of treasure. The minutes winged the way with pleasure. Kings may be blessed, but Tam was glorious, over all the ills of life victorious. But pleasures are like poppies spread, you seize the flower, its bloom is shed, or like the snow falls in the river, a moment white, soon melts forever. Or the borealis race, that flit before you point their place, or like the rainbow's lovely form, that vanishes amid the storm. No man can tether time or tide, the hour approaches, Tam must ride. That hour of night, the keystone, the dreary hour Tam mounts his beast in such a night he takes the road as never poorer sinner was abroad. The wind blew as if it would have blown its last, the rattling showers rose the blast. The speedy gleams the darkness swallowed, loud, deep, and long the thunder bellowed. That night a child might understand, the devil had business on his hand. Well mounted on his grey mare Meg, a better never lifted leg, Tam spanked on through puddle and mire, despising wind and rain and fire. Now holding fast his good blue bonnet, now crooning o'er some old Scots sonnet, now glowering round with prudent cares, lest ghosts catch him unawares. Kirk Alloway was drawing near, where ghosts and owlets nightly cry. By this time he was crossed the ford, where in the snow the peddler smored, and past the birks and Mecklestone, where drunken Charlie broke his neck bone, and through the gorse and by the cairn, where hunters found the murdered barn, and near where Mungo's mother hanged hersel, near the thorn above the well. Before him the river Doon pours all his floods, the doubling storm roars through the woods. The lightnings flash from pole to pole, near and more the thunders roll. When, glimmering through the groaning trees, Kirk Alloway seems in a blaze. Through every crack the beams were glancing, with loud resounding mirth and dancing. Inspiring bold John Barleycorn, what dangers thou canst make us scorn. With tippenny we fear nae evil, with usquebae we face the divil. The ale so foamed in Tammy's noodle, fair play he cared no devil's a bodle. But Maggie stood right sore astonished, until by heel and hand admonished, she ventured for on the light, and wow, Tam saw such a wondrous sight. Witches and wizards in a dance, no cotillion brand new from France, but hornpipes, jigs, Strathsby's reels, put life and metal in their heels. A window seat in the east, there sat Auld Nick in shape of beast. A shaggy dog, black, grim, and large, to give them music was his charge. He screwed the bagpipes and made them skirl, till roofers, rafters, all did dirl. Coffins stood round like open presses, that showed the dead in their last dresses, and by some devilish device, each in its cold hand held lights, by which heroic Tam was able to note the holy table. A murderer's bones in gallow irons, 2 span long on christened barns. A thief new cut from gallows rope, with his last gasp his mouth did gape. 5 tomahawks with blood red rusted, 5 scimitars with murder crusted, a garter which a babe had strangled, a knife a father's throat had mangled. Among his own son of life bereft, the grey hairs still stuck to the heft, with more of horrible and awful, to which even to name would be unlawful. 3 lawyers' tongues turned inside out, with lies seemed like a beggar's cloth. 3 priests' hearts, rotten black as muck, lay stinking vile in every corner. As Tammy glowered, amazed and curious, the mirth grew fun and fast and furious. The piper loud and louder blew, the dancers quicker and quicker flew. They reeled, they set, they crossed, they grasped, till every old woman sweated and steamed, and cast her rags to the work, and tripped at it in her undershirt. Now Tam, oh Tam, had they been queens, all plump and strapping in their teens, their undershirts, dead greasy flannel, been snow-white 17 in linen. These trousers of mine, my only pair, that once were plush, of good blue hair, I would have given them off my hurdies, for a blanket one of them bonny birdies. But withered woman, old and wizened, ancient hags would wean a foal, leaping and flinging on a cudgel, I wonder did not turn the stomach. But Tam knew what was what full well. There was one comely wench and choice, that night enlisted in the corps, long after known on Carrick's shore. For many a beast to dead she shot, and perished many a bonny boat, and drank both much whiskey and beer, and kept the countryside in fear. Her short shift of paisley coarse cloth, that as a young girl she had worn, in length though very scanty, it was her best, and she was proud. Ah, little knew your reverend grandmother, that under vest she bought for little Nanny. With £2 Scots, it was all her riches, would ever have graced a dance of witches. But here my musing her winging must stop, such flights are far beyond her power, to singing how Nyandi leaped and kicked, a supple old horse she was strong, and how Tam stood like one bewitched, and thought his very eyes enriched. Even Satan glowered and fidgeted full fondly, and jerked and blew with might and main, till first in caper, then another, Tam lost his reason altogether, and roars out, "Well done, short shift," and in an instant all was dark, and scarcely had he and Maggie rallied, when out the hellish legion sallied. As bees buzz out with angry fret, when plundering hordes assail their hive, as open hares mortal foes, when pop she starts before their nose. As eager runs the market crowd, catch the thief resounds aloud. So Maggie runs, the witches follow, with many an earthly creech and scowl. Ah Tam, you will get thy rights. In hell they will roast thee like a herring. In vain your Kate awaits your coming. Kate soon will be a woeful woman. Now do your speedy utmost, Meg, and win the keystone of the brig. There at them you your tail may toss, a running stream they dare not cross. But before the keystone she could make, the fiend a tail she had to shake. For Nanny far beyond the rest, hard behind old Maggie pressed, and flew at Tam with furious aim, but little was she Maggie's mettle. One spring brought off her master's whole, but left behind her own grey tail. The old woman clutched her by the rump, and left poor Maggie scarce a stump. Now who this tale of truth shall read, every man and mother's son take heed. Whenever to drink you are inclined, or short shifts run in your mind, think you may buy the joys too dear. Remember Tam O'Shanter's mare.